Today I am reading Ricky and the Harvest Spirit by me, Maylene Jones, and it is a story that is filled with R in all positions of words. It's autumn themed and it's really good for bombardment of the sound and for carryover. Ricky and the Harvest Spirit. The brass school bell rang several times, reminding the restless students that recess was over. Reluctantly, the children ran back to their classrooms. The third graders began working on their history lesson about America and its forefathers. Later on during art class, a kid named Ricky Boyer daydreamed about the dog days of summer, which he remembered from September, while his teacher, Mr. Ronaldson, wrote rhyming words on the chalkboard. Ricky heard ravens cawing outside and was startled back into reality. So he continued drawing his 4 favorite things for his art project: gray rhinos, sports like soccer and archery, and fruit like cherries, while Mr. Ronaldson erased the board. Outdoors, the regal raven was raving to the ragged wrens about the shriveled raisins they were craving. The rowdy children had sprinkled them all around the playground during lunch break earlier that November day. The hungry birds could hear the racket the squirrels were making while running up and down the trees, gathering the crunchy leaves. The squirrely squirrels crawled up and down those trees with toothfuls of leaves for keeping their nests warm throughout the frigid winter, when many animals hibernate like bears. Ricky wondered if polar bears hibernate too. Those crunchy leaves had recently been a vibrant green before turning bright red. Then they were dark orange before finally turning bronzy brown. The graceful spiraling movement of the falling leaves was silent as a feather until, like a soft whisper, each one finally caressed the ground, resting among its withered brothers and sisters, covering the earth like a colorful carpet. Under the carpet of colorful leaves, the critters crawled around, rummaging and foraging for tender morsels like acorns, mushrooms, and berries, which they could ravish before the freezing winter rushed in. Hurried rodents rustled around as if swimming through the water of a rusty river. They used the rugs of leaves as protective screens from larger predators like the drowsy barn owl, which had been resting on the broken branch of the tree from where the leaves had fallen. The tired barn owl stretched its feathered wings and suddenly swooped downward toward the ground. The strong air from its large wings abruptly rearranged the fragile leaves, uncovering various startled rodents, before safely covering them back up again like a warm blanket. The crows cawed at the barn owl as it flew into the dreary afternoon sky, and the children dressed in their warm sweaters, ready to run along home after a long day of boring schoolwork. Ricky grabbed his soccer gear and went to soccer practice with his friends Arthur Moore and Rebecca Price. They dribbled the soccer ball back and forth across the field for an hour. Rebecca scored a goal and everyone cheered. After practice, the 3 friends walked home together because they were next-door neighbors. It was safer and smarter that way, while also being more fun, of course. On their route home, they passed by scarecrows with torn trousers and cornfields with rows and rows of ears of corn. They passed weathered red tractors and tired farmers who were harvesting their crops of dry rye, straight asparagus, and crispy turnips. After they carefully crossed the train tracks and before they passed the barley field by Rebecca's house, a pretty freckled deer frolicked across the dirt road. Rebecca waved by and ran up the driveway to her front door. Arthur and Ricky played rock, paper, scissors until they arrived at Arthur's house, which was down the street. They did their secret handshake, and then Arthur hopped over a broken rake his sister had left on the grass near some dry leaves by the rickety fence, then disappeared indoors. When Ricky returned to his home, he read all of his reading homework first, then wrote all of his writing in cursive so he could play pretend outside right after dinner. When dinner was ready, the Boyer family of 4 ate together at the dining room table. They had hand-carved turkey with leftover gravy, creamed corn, buttered broccoli with shredded mozzarella, and fresh sourdough bread rolls. Ricky requested extra dressing. For dessert, his mother made tart cranberry crepes using his grandmother's recipe. The crepes were drizzled with whipped cream, sprinkled with powdered sugar, and decorated with marshmallows. They had sparkling apple cider to drink too. Unfortunately, by the time dinner was over, it was too dark to run outside, so Ricky and his rascal brother Mark watched their favorite cartoon while moths began to flitter around the porch light. During a commercial break, the brothers heard that the President of America had pardoned a glorious turkey named Prince Rodney. Once in bed, Ricky thought about how grateful he was for his parents, brother, friends, and the roof over his head. He even had gratitude for homework. Ricky imagined that outdoors in the darkening evening, Mother Nature was caring for her precious animals as they retired for the night so that tomorrow they would be ready in the early morning for another autumn day of preparing for the upcoming winter. As he drifted off into slumber, Ricky could have sworn that somewhere out there he heard the hoots of the great barn owl as it joined the groups of migrating birds which were flying in V formation across the round harvest moon in the grand purple sky. Or was it just a dream? The end.